It was tricky. I'm not usually one to play these technical things. I normally just ring Simon up and make him do it.
Aye, he's the better player.
Yeah.
Cynation TV.
Oh yeah!
Previously on the evolution of creation.
If I want to be more specific, like the black metal that I like is what they call symphonic black metal.
That's my favourite.
You know, the devil's getting a bit more creative.
I mean, the devil's got to move with the times, you know. I mean, it's 2020 and all.
Well, I did get a bit lazy and I used a drum loop.
Typical guitarist getting lazy with the drums. You're gonna get a very angry email from Fender soon. Don't say we do blackface!
Hi guys, welcome to the evolution of creation. Please, before we start anything, do us a favor, like and subscribe to the channel and please share it. We are still very, very small in the big picture of things and only you can help us break through YouTube's algorithms because they don't like us for some reason. Let's move on. So the next part, I wanted it to pick up a bit. So our drum beat does change somewhere around, let's see, is it here?
Still tribal.
So instead of, it's still the tribal, but it's a bit faster, right? And I did the drums first over here, so I picked another loop. And using that as my, jumping off point, I then decided what the guitars would sound like. So you heard dum da da dum da dum da dum da.
Can you show us that moment when we transition from the slow drums with the whole track? How we go from that dum dum dum? Because
Okay.
I believe there's one more element you haven't mentioned
What's
yet.
that?
It's still in vein of that European black metal. You had synths. You also had choir.
We did play it.
Or did we play it?
Yeah.
Oh fuck me sideways.
So let's just take the ending section of this tritone thing where we go into the more sped up part.
So obviously you had that, the second round of that.
Yeah.
That's the build up, that build up of suspense into that fast, intense section.
And basically, if you listen to the drums, this is what I took as inspiration. And we went.
Does that riff get any inspiration from anywhere in particular?
I guess it's kind of Metallica-y.
Oh right, like
That's a term.
Metallica-y.
Well, that's what I heard. I hear the drums going dum da dum da dum, right? And I knew that we want to keep in the vein of these same note choices. So we add a bit of a gallop.
The moment you did the gallop, I started to see the connection. Made me think of like Ride the Lightning or something.
And the bass, we kind of kept it very traditional, thrash metal in the sense where it's just shadowing the guitar.
Thrash metal. Just that gallop.
Yeah.
So you understand. It's thrash metal, not trash metal.
Depends.
You bastard.
Shut up. You're the Scottish one.
I've got to come in here and set it straight. People are going to start looking up trash metal.
If you're that much of a mong, you deserve it. But the bass, if you can hear, I play with a pick as well. Because of this kind of metal, like if you play it with fingers, I just felt it wouldn't have the same kind of percussive attack and cut through enough.
Aye. Because of that gallop as well, you want to hear that sharp attack.
And there's actually somewhere here, I kind of forgot, there is, let me find my guitars. So let's just have a listen to the lead guitars that are creating all this discordant noise. Let's just hear that one more time. As you know, we were just playing the Devil's Tritone chords.
So what was that? Was that just like a harmonic?
That's just a harmonic off the 5th fret on the G string, but because of this high feedback thing we've got going on, you get... Fuck, it's still running.
No way. So about that sound that you just created.
The one that we're talking about here.
That whine. So is that just like what, a harmonic with this distortion?
Yeah, it's just a harmonic. I know I've got a different guitar now, we had battery problems.
Right. I will say, this guitar is a bit prettier sounding than the other one.
Also because we're now plugging into the Victory V40 rather than, you know, the Apple sounds. But there were specific reasons why I use the Apple plugins, because I love their big hair harmonics effect, which I then further tweaked to get the because I don't have all the effects I need to make that sound.
Right. Well, I think beyond, so that covers the guitar and the section up until we just jump into the fast intense section for a little bit. And there's a break there, which we will talk about in the next episode, because that has something to do with the film.
So after the break, here's what happens.
Now, before I ask you and get you to do a little demo for us, was there any inspiration in particular for that kind of solo, that sound?
I initially wanted to play it on the keyboard until I checked that the tempo was at 110 BPM, and it would basically be like sweep picking on the piano at that speed, which I do not have the dexterity to do.
Nah.
So I initially tried to do it with the Apple plugins, but I was not satisfied with the sound, and I don't know whether it was maybe it was a problem, the computer wasn't fast enough or whatever it was.
Right.
When I tried to play the notes at that speed, I found that the software wasn't tracking the sounds fast enough, and it was making it very hard for me to play because the capture was happening like that split second later than what I was playing.
And that's unacceptable.
Yeah, it makes it very difficult to pull this off.
So how did you do it then in the end?
So here it is, the final product. So what I did was, I used this exact guitar, the Nash T68. What we're doing is we're running it in through first a Friedman BEOD pedal, and then into a Boss digital delay DD8 on the shimmer setting, I think I had it. I don't remember actually, but that's running through the effects loop of the Victory V40. So we're basically just kind of sweeping this arpeggio.
It's funny because, you know, now that I think about it, when it all comes together, it sounds like it fits, like it's one big whole and everything matches. But when you play it on its own, I started thinking of like Yngwie Malmsteen Like it almost doesn't seem like the kind of solo you'd find in a song like this.
I guess Ingwe, you know, like him, love him or hate him, he is probably one of the first ones to make famous the 3-string arpeggio and to use it in a metal setting. Traditionally, you don't have particularly technical solos in black metal.
That's what I felt, you know.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, it's nice, but you don't really
I
have
just wanted
that.
to bring it in. And you get this.
It's almost like the method is a bit more, you know, you could find that in, you know, I could imagine Eddie Van Halen playing something like that, except the tones and the notes that you're using are the devil tritone kind of evil sounding shit.
It's a lot of delay, a lot of reverb to create that hugeness. But yeah, it was tricky. I'm not usually one to play these technical things. I normally just ring Simon up and make him do it.
Hey, he's the better player.
Yeah, and I just felt that, but that's what I needed for this track, so I just buckled down and got it in.
And it's good as well because I find when you take on projects like this that are out of your comfort zone, you push yourself to have to do better, which is great. So good on you, cunt.
Thank you. And I don't know, I just never really heard anyone sweep double tritone notes.
You gotta try some, like I said, you know, you've got this setting of that black metal, but then you're trying to apply a technique that's not commonly found in it, and you do create something new.
Yep. And you've got to have that squeal at the end, right? There it is.
Which again, funnily enough, that squeal, I can't really place it in black metal.
Well, it comes back to even, you know, like what we did earlier on with the...
It's just almost very, because it's funny because you talk about like evilness with symphonic black metal, but a lot of that evilness comes from control in terms of, you know, like there's a lot of planning in the structure of like the orchestra and the synths. A lot of this whiny shit seems to be very, you know, 80s
hair metal.
hair metal, glam metal, you know, this like wild, punky, out of control shit.
In fact, now that we've got this guitar with this setup, let's just have a listen to the heavier part.
Sounds much better on that guitar, isn't it? It's a fucking lovely guitar, this one.
In hindsight, I should have just used this for everything, but it's not just this guitar, it's that amp as well.
Hey.
But yeah, I mean, I started out with that, we went ahead with that, and I just jumped off it when I felt that the sounds weren't able to get me what I needed for the sweep section.
Hey. But you know, I can also see how this throws back to that other episode about having multiple guitars, because your Gibson, it's a very dirty, you know, dirty sound. This is very clean, which works with certain parts, but then with other parts, you want that dirty, gritty, homeless, spunky sound, you know?
Well, Gibson did all of the rhythms. It had that muddier weight to it, which we hear at the beginning. I mean, I can play it on this guitar, but it's a bit different.
Is it like that because you've also got your DD8 delay on?
Yeah, it's a different setup altogether, but it's got this bright, also beautiful.
It's a bit too beautiful, you know, because you think that, that, you know, like the demon's gonna come and he's gonna make sweet love to you rather than, you know, do dirty
And also, I don't know,
things.
like even the dirty.
Let me put it this way, your Gibson's like old original track Metallica, this one's like remastered Metallica.
Kind of, yeah, and I think that's why I did it. Also, this guitar, I wouldn't have been able to do that kind of, that tappy effect.
Aye.
Because of the single coils, they were way too noisy. I needed the humbuckers to at least control the feedback a little bit.
So again, different guitars, you got different pickups, different capabilities.
And let's wrap this up at the end of the song. We basically just have this chord. I don't even know what you call it.
What?
If you can name this, please let us know.
Do you want to talk like how did you do that? How?
Well, it was part of that little triad thing I wrote at the start.
So it's basically it's the second chord you played, but just back.
And we're just raking it up from the bottom, and it sounds like this. That's interesting because I had the metronome turned on, and what we didn't consider was that I was facing the computer and the sound of the metronome was coming straight into the pickups.
Hey.
And it turned out to be, that could be a nightmare because you can't get that out of your recorded track, but it's kind of cool when you listen to it.
Because it was going through, it was coming out of the monitors, going through the pickups,
Running through the pedals,
the effects,
the amp,
coming back out.
of the mic, yeah.
And it's great because it was one of those beautiful accidents like this guy over here that you actually have this, it further adds to that horrific element, that unknown, because if you didn't talk, when I first heard that, I was like, how in God's name did you make that sound? And until he told me it was a metronome, I was almost a bit creeped out. I thought the devil himself had inseminated his track.
But anyway, that is the complete Night Gaunts song, where we use the synthesizer, the bass, the guitar to create this kind of my version of a, you know, symphonic black metal dystopian.
It was your tribute
soundtrack.
as well.
Yeah. And from this came about the Night Gaunts idea. And from there, we will talk in the next episode about the scoring using Spitfire audio.
It was great to see as well how, you know, based on our working relationship, we've always had a lot of building film from music, and how taking this soundscape, which was also very much cinematic in nature, then turned it into this little short film project. And we'd love that. We can't wait to show you in the next one how we created that and then did the orchestral backing.
We're running low on time.
And battery.
So very quickly, guys, please support us. I'm begging you. Buy one of these.
Buy a fucking t-shirt, you cunt.
Cynation muscle tee. You can see them here with the beautiful ladies wearing them.
Here, maybe here.
Order it directly, messaging us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. We don't do Twitter.
Nah, I use Twitter for other things.
Alright. So,
Till the part 2.
that's right.
See you. Yeah.